Good morning, everyone. Let's see. There. Good morning, everyone. This is Drew and Borski, and we are live in Houston, Texas. It's Friday, June 1st, and it is show number 34. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad you're here. Had quite a few people waiting for the show to start, so that was very exciting for me. I was running through the house. It's like I have 1 minute till the show starts, and there's people waiting. And when I run through the house, of course, the dogs chase after me barking. So they're all wound up right now. Well, we got quite a few people here. KB's here. Good morning, KB. Cheryl's here. Kristen's here. DJ's here. Good morning, everyone. They were all here in the chat room before the show started. If you're new to the show, I always have the show up and ready at least 15 minutes before it starts. So the chat room is open. So always feel free to come a little early and join the fun in the chat room. If you don't know where the chat room is, it's different on every device. So if you've gone full screen on your phone or your iPad or something like that, it might eliminate the option of chatting. So if you want to join in the chat room, which I hope you do, you can't be full screen. If you're on a computer, I think it's off to the right of the screen. So welcome. Oh, look, I don't know if I said hi. Good morning, Deborah. Good to see you. You've missed the show a couple days. I missed you. Deborah's my sister, in case you didn't remember that. Elisa's here. Hi, Elisa. Happy Friday to you, too. TGIF. Whew, made it through another week, but it was a short week for a lot of us because Monday was a holiday. But I'm happy to see you all well. So yesterday, remember, I had to go to Home Depot and I had to go grocery shopping. And if you follow me on Instagram, you saw pictures from all that. It was all a smashing success, but extremely hot. KB wants to know, does a scrambled egg sandwich count as breakfast or lunch? I think it's more of a brunch item. I'm not really sure, KB. I think it just sounds delicious. I'm actually really hungry right now. I eat breakfast early in the morning when everyone's going off to work and everything. And then right now is when I normally eat lunch. So I'm always starving right at 11. And I made the mistake, I don't know, about 25 shows ago. I made this mistake of having a little snack before the show started, and then it got stuck in my throat. I actually ended up cutting the show short, but luckily nobody watched it back then. So there was like one person there. And then I texted that person. I said, I was gagging because I think it was a pork rind or something got stuck in my throat. Anyway, so one of the things I did is I bought supplies at the grocery store to make Kristen's cashew cream cheese probiotic recipe. If you want to see that recipe, I put it in yesterday's show notes. I didn't put it in today's, sorry. But go back to yesterday's. You can go over there. But I know it was funny because on Instagram I posted you soak the cashews overnight. And I posted on Instagram that I was soaking them overnight and had all these people say, oh my God, I love Kristen's recipe. So this is a tried and true recipe. It's just my first time. DJ saw me soaking my nuts, yes. Got to soak them overnight so that they're nice and mushy, apparently. It's a several day process from what I'm gleaning. So thank you, Kristen, for such a great recipe. I'm looking forward to having a bagel with some cashew cream cheese probiotic spread on it. It sounds delicious. It sounds like it's kind of has that tang of a cream cheese. So I'm looking forward to that. Jan, hi Jan. Have to leave for an appointment. Have a good weekend. Thank you, Jan. I'm so glad you stopped by and said hi. Stay for as long as you can. Come back and watch the show later after your appointment if you want. Kristen says, woohoo! It amazes me that it cures me of my dairy urges. You know, a lot of people are dairy-free now. I've noticed that. I've noticed there's a trend for dairy-free. And I know because when I go in the grocery store, there's so many dairy-free options. And they wouldn't be there if there weren't a lot of people that are skipping the dairy. So there's almond milk and cashew milk and soy milk and all these different options. So obviously there's a lot of people doing this. Hey, Stitching Out Loud. Hello, Stitching Out Loud. Hello, sweet Sarah May. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Kristen, Stitching Out Loud wants to know if the cream cheese can be frozen if you make a big batch. That's a good question because I've been wondering the same thing too. because I feel like a little bit of pressure to eat it once it's done because I don't want it to go bad. But excuse me, yesterday we were talking about people that don't eat dairy, and Captain Teresa was curious how to get calcium and vitamin D um, if you eliminate dairy from your diet. Now, I'm not a health expert, but I do have my fingers, you know, in like nutrition and stuff. I like to do a lot of research and find out what I'm eating. So what I found out is if you want to up your calcium intake without dairy, a good way to do that is to eat dark leafy greens, right? But there's a couple things about that that I didn't realize. You know, that's like collard greens or turnip greens or kale. You know, we've seen everyone talking about eat kale. Bok choy is really good. Bok choy is actually really good. I love bok choy. It makes me hungry just thinking about it. But there's something to keep in mind that spinach and chard and beet greens all have a chemical compound in them that blocks the body from absorbing the calcium that are in them. So although spinach has calcium, your body's not going to take it in. So if you're trying to up your calcium intake, spinach isn't the place for that. Spinach or chard, beet greens, I mean, they have other nutrients, so you know they're absolutely worth eating. But if you're really looking for the calcium, those three you want to skip those for calcium. You know, pump up the kale, pump up the turnip greens, collard greens, bok choy. If you're looking for the calcium, so then if you're looking for vitamin D, which is the other thing that a lot of us traditionally have gotten from a dairy diet, you want to eat mushrooms. Mushrooms are really high in vitamin D. Soy products are high in vitamin D. Almonds are real high so you want to drink almond milk or eat almonds. And also, you can look for things that are fortified with vitamin D, like cereal, you know. And then you can up your vitamin D intake that way also. I love the mushroom idea. Remember, most dogs have a food reaction to mushrooms. It might not kill them instantly, but it can really, really hurt their stomach. So try not to give mushrooms to your dogs. Don't ask me how I know that for sure, but I do. No mushrooms for dogs. But I love mushrooms. You know, usually my breakfast consists of some type of omelet because I like to have protein in the morning. I feel better if I have protein in the morning. So I usually have some scrambled eggs. And I tend to put stuff in them. And I love to put spinach, and I love to put mushrooms, and I don't love to put kale. I usually put kales in smoothies so it gets blended up and I can't taste it. But, oh, there's another thing is if you are looking to up your iron intake, so you want to get more iron in your diet, you're probably eating things like spinach, right? But what I discovered in my research is that if you drink coffee while you're eating spinach, it blocks your body from absorbing the iron. Coffee blocks your body from absorbing. If you have an iron deficiency issue, coffee is contributing to that. Sorry. So don't drink coffee while you're trying to up your iron intake from a diet. Or even from supplements. If you're drinking coffee and taking an iron supplement, it's blocking it. I hate to say that because I know most people love coffee, but I mean, I love coffee. I have coffee right here. Mm. Every year, the show hadn't started yet this year, but every year at Lent, um, I give up stuff, even though I'm not Catholic. And I usually give up coffee and alcohol and everything except water as far as drinking, just to, I don't know, clean my body out, I guess. I don't know. But I tell you what, Easter, I'm back on the coffee immediately. I love it so much. Oh, Ruthie's here. Hi, Ruthie. I'm glad you showed up. DJ said that kale is good in soups. Hey, you know what? I never thought to put it in soup. I love soup. I love making homemade soup. I usually save all my chicken bones. I have a big plastic gallon baggie in the freezer, and as I cook chicken throughout the year, I stuff it, and I put vegetables like scraps and stuff in the same bag and keep it frozen. Then when the bag's full, I make some chicken stock out of it. And now that I have an Instant Pot, it goes really, really fast. And it's really delicious. I guess, you know, the millennials are calling it bone broth. It's just chicken stock. But I could make some kale soup. That That sounds really, really good. Sarah May says kale chips are good too. Sarah May, do you make your own kale chips or do you buy them? Because I see them at the store. I bet they taste better if you buy them at the store. Kristen says all the hearty greens are awesome in soup because they maintain some substance. Collard greens, kale, etc. Not spinach. Yeah, spinach falls apart pretty easily. It's not very fibrous. But yeah, kale and collard greens and all that are very fibrous. So now we know. Thank you for the question yesterday, Captain Teresa. I don't think you're here today. Captain Teresa has to watch from work, so sometimes her boss is over her shoulder and she can't watch. Oh, you buy it at the store. Sarah Maya buys her kale chips at the store. Oh, maybe I'll try that next time I go to the grocery store. I'll get some kale chips. I'm not dairy free completely because I still put like dairy in my coffee and stuff. But I've reduced the dairy quite a bit. You know, when we were kids, my mom always made us drink milk at every meal. And then my sister Deborah, after I was an adult, told me the secret to that is you put ice in the milk and then it tastes better. It's so much better when it's cold, cold, cold. So now whenever I have milk, I put ice in it. It just tastes so much better. But anyway, I'm going to try to up these different greens. Try to get some variety too, because I kind of get, you know, I go to Costco, like a lot of people go to the big Costco Sam's Club type place. And then I end up buying like 10 pounds of spinach or something. It's like spinach every meal for, you know, 4 or 5 days. I would rather have some variety. I'm looking forward to fall this year because once it cools off in Houston, you can grow greens. It's too hot right now. But in the fall, everyone plants spinach and stuff. So this year, I'm kind of planning it in my head. I'm going to put some containers of spinach and kale. And, you know, like Swiss chard is so beautiful. There's rainbow chard. It's just beautiful as a planting. Cabbages, too. So I'm going to put some stuff out. And then hopefully eat more leafy greens. Just feel better about everything that way. Get some fiber in my diet. Oh, look, Deborah said that's the only way to drink milk. Otherwise, it gags me. Yeah. So warm milk on oatmeal is like a nightmare for Deborah. Which I eat all the time. Yeah, I love cabbage too. KB, my dad had a meal he made. He called it boiled dinner. I have no idea what was in it, but it was cabbage based. And it was really, really good. I remember eating it, and it was so good. And I'm sure it was just cabbage and carrots and stuff boiled in chicken stock, but it was really, really, really good. Deborah probably has the recipe for boiled dinner. She'll have to send it with me. Sarah May was raised in the country and South, so my mom still eats poke greens, and they are good. What's a poke green? See, I'm not from the South. I don't know what a poke green is. But it sounds delicious, whatever it is. I'm looking over there, in case you're new, I'm looking over there because I keep my comments on my computer screen over here because they pop up so fast on the iPad, I can't see them. If you are new, because I know a newsletter just went out this morning, so I think some of you might be new from clicking on that link, please subscribe to the channel, and if you ring that little notification bell next to the subscribe button, that's the you'll get little pings on your phone when I go live. It's the only way to know that I go live for sure. Otherwise, the show is Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. You do the math for your time zone. But I'm so happy you're here, and I hope you'll subscribe. And also, as you the show's over and you leave, please click the little like button for the show. That helps me out tremendously. 5 people have already liked the show, and it's not even half over. That makes me very happy. Thank you, 5 people. That was very sweet of you. Oh, look, more comments are popping up. This is great. And also, if you're new and you're looking to join in on the conversation, there is a chat room somewhere on your screen. If you've gone full screen on your device, you need to minimize it a little bit so that you can see the chat option. I know people have had problems with that in the past. Sarah May says poke greens grow wild and develop purple berries, which are poisonous. Ooh, well, that makes it exciting because you eat the greens, but the berries are poisonous. Isn't rhubarb poisonous if you cook it wrong? I've never been a big fan of rhubarb, but I think like the roots of rhubarb are poisonous. I don't know. I don't really like it. So don't eat the berries. That is good advice, Sarah May. Never eat things that are poisonous. I agree. leaves when young and tender are good. You know, when I was a kid, uh, well, the second half of my childhood, the first half of my childhood, we lived in the mountains. Second half of my childhood, we lived in Michigan, which is, a lot of farm country. It's very rich soil there. And that's where my mom is from. Our mom, Deborah, I know you're in the room. And that's where our mom is from. And so she knew all the spots to go and get wild asparagus or wild blackberries or wild morel mushrooms. Or she knew all the good spots and she knew exactly what time of the year to go. And I tell you what, we would pull over and walk into a field and pick fresh asparagus and just eat it as we were picking it. We'd take some home to cook, but there was nothing like that fresh asparagus right out of the ground. It was so delicious. So anyway, KB says she loves finding wild chives. When I was a kid mowing the lawn, there was a big patch of them. And whenever I would mow over that patch of chives, it smelled so good. It's like, onions. But you might know, I feel like as a dog father, I have to keep saying this. Onions are poisonous to dogs. There's a lot of things dogs can eat, but they shouldn't eat onions. Don't let them have onions or chives or garlic. Those are all in the same family. I've tried to grow garlic, and it just doesn't grow for me. It's supposed to be super easy. I don't know why I can't get it to grow. So anyway, I'm not keeping up with the comments very well, but you talk amongst yourselves. Wait, Sarah May, you grow garlic? You're going to have to tell me the secret because I can't get it to grow. And Kristen has it just growing wild there. So apparently the garlic gods are frowning upon me because I have to buy it at the store. I used to buy the garlic pre-minced at the store, and then Kristen told me stories about how they produce it. And now I actually threw that jar away that I had because it just seems so much easier to mince it, to have it pre-minced. It's just pre-minced garlic, right? But, like most things, if they're processed, there's probably some dark secret behind the processing that you don't want to know. So, and I'm not going to share what Kristen told me about it, but, buy or grow fresh garlic and mince it up yourself. It's just better, trust me. You don't want to know. Stitching Out Loud said, we used to have lemongrass in our yard. It smelled great when my dad mowed over it. There's a lemongrass shortage, so if you're able to grow it, you're really, really lucky. I put a little container of lemongrass in my garden, and it grew so well it took over. It became like this huge lemongrass plant, and the lemongrass leaves are really sharp, so I kept running into it and cutting my arm. So then I moved it out front and then neglected it, and then it died. So the end. That's my lemongrass story. But when I had it in the garden, it sure was fun. I would put it in soups and stuff, and it gave it a fresh lemony taste. And it was super easy to grow if you pay attention to it. Yeah, there's a Netflix documentary about food processing, I think, and there was something in there about things that you'll find in that minced up garlic jar. You don't want to know, but if you can, just mince it up yourself. If you go to Costco, you can buy 27 pounds of garlic at a time, and then you have plenty of garlic. And if you just keep it, I keep it hanging in a bag that's a mesh bag, so it stays dry, and then it pretty much keeps forever. I mean, long enough to where you can use it all up. I put garlic in everything except something the dogs might eat, because Elisa, sorry about that, but I approve of your throwing your jar of garlic away. Just trust us. You don't want to eat that pre-minced stuff. Sand78 says she's been growing all her own herbs. That's really good. I have some basil and some oregano that are going crazy in my backyard right now. So I'm going to go out and harvest some of them. And I actually have a dehydration setting on my oven. I just discovered it. There's a button that says dehydrate. I had no idea. So I'm going to maybe Google the owner's manual to this oven and see how to use it and maybe dehydrate some of my herbs. I bought some yogurt. I think it's called I think it's just from some yogurt company, a normal like Dannon or something. But they come in little glass jars. And so I save the jars because I'm borderline, I have hoarding tendencies, whatever. So I cleaned out the jars. So I think if I can find corks that fit those jars, I could put my dry herbs in them, and they actually be really cute. Um, what about the little garlic cubes at Trader Joe's? I don't know anything about frozen garlic cubes. Kristen, do you know about that? Um, I don't know how they're processed. It's all about the processing of the garlic. It's how they're taking the raw garlic and chopping it up, and where it's coming from. So I'm not sure about that. Um, Elisa says, for some reason, my basil dies after a couple of weeks. Um, Elisa, do they start to bloom? Because if they start to bloom, you need to pick those blooms off as soon as possible. It's called bolting. And once a herb bolts, it stops growing. So garlic and other herbs will put up flowers, cilantro. Once the cilantro starts to bloom, you got to pick those blooms off immediately, or they won't continue to grow. So get those blooms off immediately so it won't bolt, and then it won't think its life cycle is over, and it'll keep growing. It's critical, actually. And I love basil flowers for garnishing. They look so pretty on the plate, and if you accidentally eat one, it's okay. They're really pretty, though. I just found out, if you follow me on Instagram, I posted a picture of my purslane, which is going crazy out in the backyard. It's got little pink flowers. I just found out you can make salads out of purslane. Apparently they're edible. I had no idea. I'm going to have to get the gumption to try that, because I don't know. It's like seaweed. The first time I tried a seaweed salad, I was very leery of it, but I love it now. But I want to look up maybe some purslane recipes and see if there's like something. I don't know what it tastes like, and I'm afraid to try it. Kristen says her plants die quickly too. She has the opposite of a green thumb. What's the opposite of green? Red. You have a red thumb. It's okay. Sarah May says, I love basil tomato sandwiches. Yeah, delicious. And one of my all-time favorite caprese salads is my all-time favorite salad, which is, just fresh tomatoes, fresh basil, fresh mozzarella with some olive oil. And I like balsamic vinegar on it. Oh my God, it's so delicious, so fresh, and so full of flavor. Yummy. Sweet Sarah May says, yes, you can eat the purslane, and they're pretty. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you saw the photo. Sarah May follows me on Instagram, hint, hint. If you want to follow along on what happens after the show, there's a link in the show description to my Instagram feed, and you can, if you're on Instagram, just follow me there, and you can see I've been doing Instagram stories, which are a lot of fun, and that's where things stay in a different part of your Instagram feed for 24 hours. So instead of filling up my feed with all the like little steps along the way, I've been throwing things in the feed, like when I went to Home Depot yesterday, or stuff like that. So you can follow along after the show. That'd be a lot of fun. Sand78, love grilled eggplant, basil, and tomato. Oh, that sounds so good. I've never tried grilling eggplant before. That's brilliant, because eggplants can get soggy if you cook them wrong, and that's kind of, but I bet if you grill them, they come out really, really good. Elisa says, yes, caprese is my favorite. It's just such a good salad. And caprese sandwich, caprese, I was talking to some friends the other day about this, because I had tomatoes on the counter from the garden. And I said, well, have you ever had a Margherita Pizza, which is, super traditional over in Italy. It's the original pizza is what somebody told me. And a Margherita Pizza is just a cheese pizza with slices of tomato and whole pieces of basil. It's so delicious with a crispy crust. Again, see this? This is my show notes. Yesterday was cockroaches. Today is not about eating everything, but I'm so hungry. We're just going to talk about food. Sarah May says, cucumbers, green onion, tomatoes grow good. Where are you at, Sarah May? I forgot. I'm sorry, I forgot. It sounds like you have nice, cool evenings, though, if you're getting tomatoes and cucumbers. I have a cucumber vine out back that's taking over the trellis, but it's having trouble setting the fruit because I think it's too hot here. Oh, Indianapolis. Oh, sure, of course. Indianapolis, not too far from Michigan. Kind of the same weather. DJ says lettuce grows great in my garden. DJ, you're in Minneapolis, right? There's a lot of water in Minneapolis, I believe. Yeah, I think lettuce, I can only grow it in the winter here because of the heat. That's just the way it is, you know. I went to the local garden center, not the Home Depot garden center, which is fine. I shop there all the time. But there was a local nursery that had a series of classes on how to grow stuff in here in Houston. So I was smart enough to take that class, and there was a local uh, like expert, and he actually had written a book about planting in the city of Houston. You know, if you want an urban garden, and it goes week by week what you should plant. So like the first week of June, we're in June now. First week of June, you should put this in the ground, and it goes through the whole year. It's such a great resource. If you have any classes like that around you, I really highly recommend. There's somebody who's an expert, and maybe it's you. You should give a class. That's what you should do. Give classes and barter for people cleaning your bathrooms, because you should stop cleaning your own bathrooms. You know how I feel about that. So you remember Captain Anonymous a couple weeks ago asked about hiring somebody to clean their house and how to go about finding that. It was a few, I don't remember how long ago it was. And well, Captain Anonymous, it took her a couple tries to find somebody, which, you know, that's normal. Sometimes people don't show up, etc. But somebody finally came to Captain Anonymous's house yesterday and cleaned it and discovered there's a phenomena. There's a phenomena about cleaning the house that I've honed in on is I could go clean somebody else's house better than I can clean my own house. And I'm not sure what's there. There's got to be some type of psychological aspect. But the person who was cleaning my house, gosh, I don't know how long ago it was, a couple years ago. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a while. But I was talking to her, and she was saying that she has a house cleaning service, and her house isn't as clean as the houses she cleans, you know, her clients. There's just some phenomena there. Anyway, get somebody to clean your house for you. You shouldn't be doing it. Stitching Out Loud said, was that Tim Tynan, the guy on the radio? Gosh, I don't know. I could look that up, Stitching Out Loud. I don't remember the guy's name. He was an older gentleman. You know, he'd been in Houston like all his life, so. Oh, DJ, I'm sorry, you're in Northeast Pennsylvania. I don't know I had you in Minneapolis in my mind. It's just a miracle I'm remembering anything. Okay, sweet Sarah May's got to go. Have a great weekend. It was good to see you, Sarah May. That's everything on my list. I'm just ready for the weekend. I bought a bunch of stuff at Home Depot. That's on my Instagram if you want to see the stories there. I bought a bunch of sod. Turns out sod does arrive on Thursday, and it was almost all sold out when I got there at 3 in the afternoon. So I did get some, and I was planning on doing it this weekend, but of course with sod, you want to get it on the ground and watered immediately or it will die. So I got my sod down, but I have some pavers I need to put down, and I have some edgers I need to put down this weekend. Going to do it first thing in the morning because it's so darn hot. Record heat here in Houston. This is August weather we're having. It's driving me insane. Honestly, that's why I'm inside today. It's just too hot out there. It's beyond normally hot. Sod equals frisbees for Koyana. That's what Stitching Out Loud said. Well, it was when she was a puppy. We've come to an understanding. Koyana, you know, I followed her out for a long time and made sure she didn't do anything naughty out in the garden, you know, in the planting beds and stuff. So now she, you know, dogs are smart. She leaves them alone. Deborah says we're freezing at 48 degrees. Oh my gosh, Deborah, I am so jealous. I would much rather have cold weather than hot weather. Any day of the week, any time of the year. Yeah, I prefer cold weather. Well, that's it for the weekend, you know. Stitching Out Loud, KB Fibers, just because you're in charge of your house doesn't mean you have to do everything. I'm going to say it every day until all of you are convinced in your mind. If you want to know what that means to automate and delegate, I have a blog post. If you're new here, I have a blog post. It's in the show description, and you can click on that and see what I mean when I say you don't have to do everything. Housekeepers are in charge of the house. It is our responsibility to arrange that everything gets done. Not our responsibility to do everything. There's not enough time in the day. Sand78 says, work till 4 Martini Friday at 5:30, so can't wait. Martini Fridays. I might have to adopt those. Sounds like fun. Humid in mid-80s, DJ, is very uncomfortable. Once the humidity starts, it gets really uncomfortable outside. So, you know,